guide. Have you ever felt like you've been somewhere before, even though you know you haven't? Like that weird feeling called déjà vu? Why does that happen to us?
Oh yes, I've had that happen plenty of times. It's one of those brain quirks that makes you pause and wonder. Déjà vu is that strange sensation where something totally new feels super familiar, like your mind is whispering, "Hey, I've seen this exact thing before." But really, it's a quick illusion, your brain tricking you into thinking you remember something that never happened. It lasts just a few seconds, and then poof, it's gone. Most kids your age, and grown-ups too, experience it now and then. It's not magic or anything spooky. It's just how our heads work sometimes.
An illusion. So it's like my brain is playing a joke on me? But why does it feel so real? Like I actually remember it?
Exactly. It's a sneaky little joke from your brain. Imagine you're walking into a new classroom for the first time. The desks are arranged in rows. Sunlight's coming through the window just right, and maybe there's a poster on the wall that looks a bit like one you've seen somewhere. Suddenly, bam, everything feels like you've sat in that exact spot 100 times. Your heart might skip a beat, and you get this eerie chill. But it's not a real memory popping up. It's your brain mixing up the new scene with bits and pieces from other places you've been. It's common because our brains are wired to spot patterns and familiarity to help us navigate the world safely. Without that, everything would feel brand new and scary all the time.
That makes sense with the classroom example. I remember last week, I went to a friend's house I'd never visited, and for a second, their kitchen felt like my grandma's old one. But isn't that just my imagination making stuff up? Why do we even call it a real thing if it's not a true memory?
Great question. It's easy to brush it off as just imagination running wild, like daydreaming about a movie scene. But scientists call it a real phenomenon because it happens to about 2/3 of people, and it's tied to how our memory system actually functions. Think of your brain like a busy library. The librarian, your memory center, sometimes files a new book in the wrong spot for a split second, making you think you've checked it out before. It's not fake in the sense that it's not happening. It's a genuine glitch in processing new info. No one's imagining it on purpose. It's automatic. I had a moment like that years ago when I was your age, biking down a street in a new town. The corner store with its red awning hit me like I'd bought candy there every Saturday. Turned out, it just reminded me of my local shop back home. But my brain blurred the lines for a heartbeat. Made me double-check if I'd sleepwalked there or something.
Whoa, so even you as a kid? That's kind of funny. Okay, so it's not imagination. It's like a mix-up in the brain's filing system. But does it only happen in places, or with other stuff too?
It can happen with places, sure, but also conversations, or smells, or even songs. Picture this. You're at a birthday party, and someone says a phrase like, "Pass the cake, please," in a certain tone. Suddenly, it feels like you've heard those exact words at every party ever. Again, it's that brief overlap, your brain's way of saying, this matches something old. But since it's new, the familiarity fades fast once you realize it doesn't fit. It's reassuring, actually, because it shows your brain is super good at recognizing the world around you. Without these little illusions, we might not learn as quickly from similar experiences.
Yeah, I get that now. Like, it's helpful, in a weird way. So, everyone gets it because our brains are all built the same?
Pretty much. Our memory systems are designed similarly across people. The hippocampus, that's the brain part like a tiny recorder for new experiences, sometimes skips a beat and replays a false echo. It's why déjà vu pops up in everyday spots, like entering a store or hearing a laugh. Not scary, just your mind doing its best to connect dots. I've read stories from explorers who felt it in far-off lands, thinking they'd dreamed the whole trip. Shows how adventurous our brains are. even when we're not moving an inch.
Explorers too? Cool. But if it's so common and quick, what makes a brand new spot trick us into feeling like we've stood right there before?
That's the puzzling part, isn't it?
Yeah, it is puzzling. Like, why does that feeling hit so hard? It's not just, oh, this seems kind of familiar. It's like a full-on shiver, as if I'm sure I've been there. But memories are supposed to be rock solid, right? How can something fake feel that intense and spooky?
You're spot on. It's the intensity that makes it stand out, like your brain is shouting instead of whispering. Memories do feel solid because they're built from real experiences, stored like snapshots in an album. But déjà vu sneaks in by mimicking that exact process, creating a false sense of recognition that's so convincing it fools even you for a moment. Picture your brain as a detective, scanning a crime scene. Normally, it matches clues to past cases perfectly. During déjà vu, two signals cross wires, like hearing a suspect's voice that sounds just like one from an old file, even if it's a stranger. This overlap triggers the same aha rush you get from true memories, releasing a little dopamine hit that makes it feel rewarding and real. That's why it's eerie. Your mind's alarm bells go off, wondering if you've time traveled or something. I once felt it during a school play rehearsal. The stage lights hit a certain angle and poof! I swore I'd performed that scene in a dream last night. Heart pounding, everything froze. But nope, just my brain overlapping the setup with a movie I'd watched.
Dopamine? That's the happy chemical, like when you eat ice cream, right? So, it's tricking me into feeling good about a fake memory? That explains the shiver part. It's exciting but weird at the same time.
Exactly. Dopamine gives that quick thrill, blending excitement with confusion, like a roller coaster drop you didn't see coming. The eerie vibe comes from the mismatch. Your logical side knows it's new, but the emotional part insists it's old. Brains do this to help us learn fast. False familiarity encourages caution, or connection in unfamiliar spots. Without it feeling so vivid, we might ignore real warnings. Scientists say it's like a software glitch in a video game. The graphics load wrong for a second, making a new level look beaten before. Confusing? Sure, because we trust our memories like trusty sidekicks, but they're not perfect. This illusion shows they're flexible, adapting on the fly.
Okay, I see how it mimics the real thing to make it feel solid. Like, if it was just a weak hunch, I'd shrug it off, but this grabs you. Does that mean all eerie feelings are brain overlaps? Or just déjà vu?
Not all eerie feelings, but many odd ones tie back to similar tricks. Think of chills from a scary story. Your brain overlaps it with danger signals from life, amping up the realness. With déjà vu, it's specifically that false familiarity punch, hitting the recognition center hard. It feels spooky because it blurs now and then, like peeking into a parallel world for a blink. I've talked to friends who get it during drives. A curve in the road, trees flashing by, and suddenly it's like reliving a vacation route. They pull over, laughing nervously, because it felt too true to ignore. But once the overlap clears, you're back to normal, wiser about your mind's shortcuts.
Reliving a vacation. Yeah, that would freak me out too. So it's not fake in a bad way. It's the brain being too good at its job, right? Making everything connect super fast.
You've got it. It's a sign of a sharp brain, not a broken one. The overlap creates that hyper-real echo, mimicking how true memories light up your neurons in a chain reaction. It's why it stops you in your tracks. Eerie, but harmless. No wonder it confuses us. We expect memories to be straightforward, like a straight path, but they're more like a web, with threads touching unexpectedly. That web keeps us safe and smart, even if it tangles now and then.
A web. Cool way to think of it. Makes the spooky part less scary, actually. But if it's all about these signal overlaps tricking us, Which part of the brain is doing the actual messing around?
Ah, now we're getting to the wiring behind the curtain.
Yeah, the wiring. Tell me about that. Like, is there a specific spot in the brain that trips and causes this whole déjà vu thing? I mean, our brains are supposed to run smoothly, right? Glitches sound kind of like something from a sci-fi movie, not real life.
Sci-fi or not, our brains do have these little hiccups, and it's all part of being human. The main player here is the hippocampus. That's a seahorse-shaped part deep in your brain, like a control room for turning new sights and sounds into memories. Normally, it records fresh experiences cleanly, filing them away so you can pull them up later, like saving a video on your tablet. But during déjà vu, it misfires a bit. Imagine the hippocampus as a switchboard operator who's super fast, but occasionally connects the wrong lines for a split second. A new scene zips in, and instead of labeling it brand new, it accidentally links it to an old pathway, sparking that false "I've been here" spark without storing any real memory of the place.
Misfires? So it's not broken, just connecting dots wrong? Like when I plug in my headphones and the sound comes out fuzzy because the cord's loose.
Spot on with the headphones analogy. It's a temporary loose connection, not a full short circuit. Your brain's neural pathways, those are like electric wires carrying signals between brain areas. In everyday moments, they light up in sequence. Eyes see something new, signals rush to the hippocampus for checking, then to the frontal lobes for deciding if it's familiar. With déjà vu, those pathways cross briefly. Maybe the visual cortex, which handles what you see, overlaps with the memory circuits too soon. No actual memory gets stored or retrieved. It's just an echo, a phantom buzz that fades when the signals straighten out. Scientists use brain scans to spot this. During déjà vu experiments, they see unusual activity in the temporal lobe, where memories live, but nothing shows a real past event. It's like your brain rehearsing a memory without the script.
Temporal lobe. That's near the ears, right? For hearing and remembering? Okay, so no real memory means it's all in the moment, not pulling from old stuff. But why doesn't it happen all the time if the wires cross so easily?
Good point. It doesn't, because your brain has built-in checks, like safety nets in a circus act. The hippocampus usually double-checks with other parts, like the prefrontal cortex, which is your brain's boss for logic and reality testing. If everything's calm, those nets catch the crosswires before they build a full illusion. But when they slip, it's quick. Under 2 seconds of weirdness, then the logical side kicks in, saying, wait, this is new. I remember explaining this to a class once, using a puzzle analogy. Picture assembling a jigsaw of a park you've never visited. One piece from a similar puzzle sneaks in. Bam! The bench looks familiar, but the whole picture doesn't match. No harm, just a brief, whoa moment. Studies on people with epilepsy, where hippocampus glitches are more common, even recreate déjà vu in labs by stimulating those areas electrically. It proves it's a real neural hiccup, not imagination.
Epilepsy studies? That's intense. But cool how they figure it out. So the puzzle piece thing helps. It's not the whole memory, just one bit overlapping. Makes me think my brain's like a speedy puzzle solver. Sometimes too speedy.
Exactly. Too speedy for its own good sometimes. Those brief crosses happen because neurons fire in patterns, millions of them linking up like a light show. In déjà vu, a new pattern accidentally matches an old one's shape, but without the full details. The rhinal cortex, another memory gatekeeper nearby, might join in, amplifying the familiarity without verifying. It's why it feels so vivid. The brain's reward system lights up, thinking it nailed a recognition. But since no true memory exists, it unravels fast, leaving you puzzled but fine. Think of it as a sneeze in your mind, sudden, startling, over quick. No wonder folks have wondered about past lives or ghosts. It's just biology being quirky.
Past lives? Nah, I like the sneeze idea better. Short and silly. Okay, so the hippocampus and those cortices are the glitch squad. But if it's all these parts teaming up wrong, does that mean I can avoid it by, slowing my brain down?
Avoiding it entirely? Tough, since it's wired in, but yeah, being mindful helps. Deep breaths or focusing on details can nudge the logical checks to work faster. Still, it's mostly harmless. Shows your brain's flexible, adapting to keep you sharp. I've felt it during quiet reads. A sentence structure hits, and poof, it's like I've read the book before. Turns out, the words echoed a story from school. The glitch reminds us memories aren't vaults. They're dynamic networks, crossing paths to build understanding.
Dynamic networks. Yeah, that sounds powerful, not glitchy. So even with the misfires, it's helping me connect things overall. But wait, if the brain's doing all this crossing behind the scenes, what kinds of normal days make those wires more likely to tangle up?
Those normal days? Well, it's not totally random, even if it feels that way sometimes, like lightning striking out of the blue. Your brain's wires tangle more when you're tired or stressed, because that's when the hippocampus and those memory checks get a bit sluggish, like a tired athlete dropping the ball. Say you've had a long day at school, running around recess, cramming homework, and skipping that afternoon snack. Your energy dips, and suddenly, walking into the kitchen for dinner, the table setup hits you with that "I've seen this a million times" zap. Fatigue makes the signals fire sloppily, so a new moment slips into an old groove easier. Stress does the same. Think of worrying about a big test or arguing with a friend. Your mind's revved up, focusing on worries instead of fresh details, leaving room for overlaps. I remember a time when I was prepping for a big presentation at work. I was wired on coffee but exhausted underneath. Stepping into the conference room, the chairs in a circle felt like every meeting I'd ever dreaded. Heart raced, but it passed in seconds once I shook it off and sat down.
Tired or stressed? Yeah, that tracks. I get déjà vu more after staying up late playing games. So it's like my brain's too worn out to sort new stuff properly?
You've nailed it. When you're fatigued, the prefrontal cortex, that logic boss, doesn't double-check as sharply, so the false familiarity sneaks through. And similar scenes? They're huge triggers, too. Our brains love patterns, so if a new park path curves just like one from a family trip, or a teacher's voice echoes your uncle's during story time, bam, the overlap ignites. It's not the whole scene matching, just enough pieces to fool the system briefly. No deep mystery, it's your mind's shortcut for efficiency. But everyday chaos like rushing through chores or zoning out on a bus ride amps it up. Scientists note it happens more in teens and young adults because your brain's still wiring those networks busily, like construction crews overlapping shifts. But here's the cool part. It always resolves quickly, usually under 10 seconds, as your awareness kicks in and sorts the real from the echo. No lingering confusion, just a quick reset.
Patterns and tiredness. Gotcha. Like last month, after a stressful soccer game, the locker room smelled and looked just like my cousin's garage, even though I'd never been in that one. It faded super fast, though. So if no patterns made sense, I'd think it's pure chance, but this explains why it clusters on rough days.
Exactly. Those clusters aren't coincidence. They're clues to when your brain's guard is down. Similar scenes activate because the visual or smell centers light up old paths automatically. It's evolution's way of saying, this feels safe, like before. But stress and fatigue lower the bar for that activation, making glitches pop more often. Picture your brain as a busy kitchen during dinner rush. Ingredients, new inputs, mix with leftovers, old memories, when the cook's overwhelmed, creating a weird but tasty surprise dish that doesn't last. I had it once on a family hike after a rainy week, Everything soggy and green felt like a dream from a book, triggered by the damp earth smell matching a camping trip. Shook it off with a laugh and kept walking. The quick fade? That's your resilient mind at work, verifying and moving on. No harm done. It happens to everyone, because we're all juggling the same daily grind.
Kitchen rush. That's a fun way to see it. Makes sense why it doesn't stick around. My brain's smart enough to fix itself quick. So even on those trigger days, it's not a big deal. Just a sign to maybe take a break?
Spot on. And taking a break can even dial it down. Notice how after a good night's sleep or chilling with friends, those moments are rarer? Your brain rebounds, pathways straightening like a tangled cord you unplug and replug. Triggers like flickering lights in a car or repetitive music can spark it too. But again, it's brief. Your system's self-correcting. Studies show folks in high-stress jobs get it more, but it never lasts, always snapping back to clarity. It's a gentle nudge from your mind. Hey, slow down and pay attention. No sci-fi glitches, just human wiring responding to life.
Yeah, like a friendly reminder. I feel better knowing it's tied to real stuff like stress, not something random or weird. If it fades so fast, though, does that mean déjà vu is telling us something bigger about how our minds really tick?
Oh, it absolutely does. It's like a window peeking into the magic of your brain's inner workings. That quick fade shows how adept your mind is at distinguishing truth from trick, balancing creativity with reality in a flash. Déjà vu reveals our memories aren't rigid files, but living, weaving networks that adapt to keep us safe and curious. It highlights how stress or fatigue can tweak perception, reminding us to care for our mental energy. Think of it as proof your brain's a master storyteller, occasionally scripting a short, eerie tale to sharpen your awareness. Without these glimpses, we'd miss how flexible and resilient we are. I've shared this with so many kids over the years, and it always sparks that aha smile. Turns a spooky feeling into something empowering. You're already seeing it that way, which means you've got a sharp mind, tuned to the wonders inside.
Empowering. Yeah, I like that. It's cool how something that feels mysterious is really just my brain being awesome at what it does. No more shivers. Now it's like a high five from my head. Thanks for explaining it all, Guide. Makes the world feel a bit more understandable.